Hello! Welcome to the tutorial on how to make a flyer. Today I'll be showing you how to build a flyer similar to this one. Your assignment will be different than this, but all of the steps I will show you will be ones that you will use to create your flyer. So first of all, let's start with a blank Microsoft Word document. The first thing that you're going to want to do even before you have anything typed is to save your document. So I can either use my quick access toolbar up here or I can come to File Save. I'm just going to use my quick tool. You'll be saving this in your thaw space. I will be saving this in this demonstration to my desktop. And all the formats for saving will be the assignment name and then your initials. I'm going to click Save. Okay, next you're going to want to add a header on each of your assignments. To do that, you're going to go to Insert, Header. Within there, you have a bunch of built-in header options. You'll always be choosing the blank 3-column header. You just go ahead and type on that text container. Notice it turns blue. You don't have to delete anything. You'll just start typing. This one on the left will be your first and last names. Now this one in the middle will be your file name, but I don't want you to type in the words assignment 1 and then your initials. I want you to come over here to quick parts and choose the field option. And then within here there's a bunch of things that you can add. We're going to just skip by all of those and choose the file name option. It gives you some property options. We're not going to worry about the format, so just leave it on the none and click OK. Notice that that pulled in the file name that I'd assigned. Then the fire right container on your header, I want you to put the date and the time. So once again, you're going to click on that so it's blue. We're going to close that window that just popped up. Click on that so it's blue, and then you have a date and time option. Choose one of these that contains both the date and the time. Then click OK. Alright, so now we're finished with our header. To get out of your header, you can either double click down in the body or you can choose the close header and footer option. Notice now that all my header information is grayed out and out of the way. It's not part of my active document. Next, I have some text that I'm going to paste in here. You will be typing this yourself from your assignment, but since I know you don't want to watch me type, I've already got that pasted in. We're going to make some formatting changes to this text, and once again I'll show you what our end goal is. We're going to make some font changes and also add some borders and pictures to make this look like a visually pleasing flyer. So back to our text. First thing I'm going to work with is my title. In flyers, you want a focal point, something that's going to catch the reader's attention. And in this flyer, it's going to be our title and our pictures of the dog. So we want to center that. To center, you just need to have your insertion point or your cursor somewhere in that line that you want to center. And then you're going to come up here on your home ribbon and click your center tool. I also want to change the font for this. I want it bigger and I want a different style. So I want to change my font to Arial Rounded. So I'm just going to type here until that comes up. I can also scroll down and just find one. As you work more with Word, you get accustomed to the fonts that you like and kind of know how they look. So this is one that I know I want on this. And then I need to make it bigger. Now here is my point size. There are 72 points in an inch, so if I choose the 72 option, that's going to make my words 1 inch high or 1 inch tall. You can also, if you don't know exactly which font size you want, these tools let you grow and shrink your font. So this can help so that you're not randomly putting in numbers to try to figure out which size you want. I'm going to leave that at 72. Then also, I want to make this all uppercase and I don't want to retype, and I know that you guys don't like to type. So to convert something from lowercase or mixed case, as in this example, I can come up here to this tool, change case, and choose uppercase. So now everything is in caps. The next thing that I want to do with my title is add some text effects. So with this still selected, I can come up here in my font grouping of my home ribbon and choose text effects. Now this gives me some different cool options that I can choose from. There's that message again. Okay, now in most of your assignments I don't tell you what colors you have to choose. I want you to be creative and choose something that looks good. Use your own imagination. I'm going to choose this orange one. Now I've also decided that I didn't really like the colors here, and in my text colors here, I don't really like those theme colors. So I can come over here and change the color styles for my entire document. So I can come here to colors. The default here is Office, which are the colors that will pull up for your text effects, your borders, your text color, everything unless you change it to something else. These are color sets that have been put together by graphic designers, and depending on the message of your document, you can choose really neutral types of colors, or down here they have some really bright types, just depending on the mood of what you're trying to portray. I really like the one up here called Aspect because it kind of has some earthy looking tones, so I'm going to choose that. And when I come back to my text effects, notice that my colors are a little bit different. They're not quite as bright, so I'm going to choose one of those now. Also in my text effects, I can add an outline. I can control the color of the outside. I can control the weight. So if I want that orange line to be a little bit thicker, I can choose that. If I go back up there, I can add shadows, reflections, and glows. Maybe I want it to glow just a little bit. So sky's the limit on that. You can just be really creative and do a lot of different things. The other thing that I want to do to my title is add a border box around it that's shaded. So let's go back to our original example. This is what I'm looking for here. I want this rectangular box that goes behind my title just to help it stand out a little bit more. So I just need to be somewhere on my title. And I'm going to come up here to my borders tool. And at the very bottom I have borders and shading option. Now you have to be really careful when you're in this tool because you have a tab that says borders and another one that says page border. Right now I just want to be on my borders one because I only want to deal with this line of text. I'm going to choose a box, and then here I can choose the type of line that I want, and I think I just want something really subtle, just a single black line, and actually I think I want that to be maybe a kind of peach color. While I'm in here, I'm going to go to my shading tab because I want this box to be shaded, and maybe I'll choose just maybe a light green. And then when I click OK and I come back, I have this box. Now once I've gotten in here, I've decided I don't like this border around the edge. I want to keep the color, but I want to get rid of that border. So I'm going to go back in here to my borders and shading, make sure I'm on borders and click none. I've also decided I want to play with my color a little bit more. I didn't like that. It's pretty normal to change your mind as you go through these until you get something that looks really good. So I think I'm going to leave that there. Now I need to work with this text down here. These items here, Melodil, Cocker Spaniel, tan color, the things that describe the dog, I want those to be a bulleted list. So I'm going to click my insertion point in front of the first one and hit enter because I want that on its own line. Also in a bulleted list you don't want any periods. So I'm going to click right before that period and hit my delete key, and hit enter. I have an extra space, so I'm going to hit delete again. This one I'll do a little different. Some of you prefer backspace to delete, so I'm going to click after what I want to erase and hit my backspace twice, hit enter. So these three items here are going to be bulleted. To do that, I'm going to select all three, and then on my home ribbon I'm going to come up here and click bullets. And notice that it compresses the vertical spacing and then adds a bullet to each one. Now all of this text in my body I want bigger. I think I'm going to leave it at Calibri, but I just want it bigger. I'm going to use my Girl font until it gets to a size that looks good. That looks pretty good. Okay, finally this last line, just to make it stand out, I want it centered. So to do that, remember, just click somewhere in it, click your center tool, and I think I want just that line a little bit bigger. So remember, to select a whole line, you can triple click. And if once you don't succeed, try again. I think I'll raise that one up a little bit to about 28. And I think I will change the color of that to a dark green. Also, I want the little dog's name to stand out a little bit, so I'm going to select that by double clicking, or I can drag across. I'm going to italicize that, and I'm going to color it the same color that I used on this last line. Word remembers here what I used, so instead of pulling down the drop down arrow, I can just click on that, underlined A, and it will give me the color that I use, so these match. Okay, the next thing that I want to bring into this are my pictures of the dog. And I want them to go in between my title and the body of my text. So I need a little bit of space. I'm going to click right here before my text and hit enter a few times. And I'm going to put my insertion point up here in the space where I want the pictures to be. It's going to bring those pictures into wherever your insertion point is. So just to save you pain down the road, make sure that you're where you need to be when you put in those pictures. To put in my pictures, I'm going to go to the Insert tab, Picture. You will be getting these off the server. Once again, I'm saving mine on my desktop. But I have two pictures, Dog Picture 1 and Picture 2. So I'm just going to double click. Now, a lot of students freak out when this comes in because if you notice, the picture's really big and it bumped all my text to a second page. Also notice that if I try to get the four-headed arrow and move this, it doesn't want to move very well. Before you start to move or size a picture or do anything else with it, you need to change your wrap text. So with the picture selected, come up here to your Picture Tools format bar to wrap text options. Right now it's defaulted to be in line with text, so it means that it's treating it like a piece of text. I want to choose the Tide option. Then I can grab a handle. You always want to grab your corner handle. Notice if I grab a side handle, it makes it really hard to keep the picture in proportion. So I'm going to grab my corner handle and size that down a little bit. Now it kind of got moved out of place. I'm going to slide it back up there. I'm also going to click in front of my text again and add another enter here. Okay. Now I'm going to go back into Insert Picture and get my other picture. Once again, it's going to look all freaky and weird. Before you do anything else, change your wrap text. This will differ depending on the assignment, but most of the time you're going to want tight. Then using a corner handle, size it. And I want these about the same size. Sometimes it's difficult to eye it in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Make this one a little bigger. If you want to be really exact, you can click and right click. And then on size and position here, it will tell you your height and your width. So if this one's 2.27 and I want this one to be closer to that, I could adjust a little. But depending on the constraints of the picture, you may not be able to get them exactly the same. But these two are close enough. Okay, I'm going to kind of space those out a little bit. All right, now notice when I have a picture selected, I get my Picture Tools format that comes up. You'll be able to do a lot of different things with your pictures. Just try not to overpower your content with the cool little gimmicks that you can find. You want to preserve the content. So notice here on my picture styles, if I chose the soft edge oval, that's not really the best one for this picture. And others of these kind of take away from the actual picture. So feel free to use these bits. Use them wisely. Make sure that you preserve your content. I want to come here to my picture effects. Instead of using some of the presets, I'm going to play around with some of the other options. First, I'm going to put a little bit of a glow on. Then I'm going to go back to picture effects, and on 3D rotation, I'm going to angle that picture in just a little bit. And then I want to do the same thing to my other picture. So I'm going to add a glow. And once again, these colors here are the same ones that we brought in from our styles menu, from that color palette that we chose. And I'm going to go back to 3D rotation and kind of pick the partner to that other one. Okay, now my text is still being a little disrupted by the picture, so I'm going to hit enter. When I zoom out, I have an extra page here. The easiest way to get rid of that is to click after your very last character and then hit the delete key. And that just takes out that extra enter or hard return that I had in there. It's really common when you're building a flyer to bump onto that second page. Just before you finish, make sure you take out any of those extra enters. And then the last thing that I want to do is put in a page border. So to do that, once again, I'm going to my borders tool, borders and shading, and I want to make sure that I'm on the page border option. Remember that the borders tab adds a border to the paragraph like we did here with our found dog title. My page border is going to apply to the entire page. Now here I can choose if I want a box, shadow, etc. And I can select different lines, styles, and colors, and widths. And again, sky's the limit here. You can pick and choose what you want to do. Also, if for some reason I only wanted the border on the top and bottom and not the sides, I can click over here, and that preserves just the top and bottom borders. If I want them again, I just click back and they appear. Another type of border that you can do is your art border, and that's down here. There's a lot of preset fun pictures that you can choose from. The pre-colored ones, like the yellow stars, you can't change the color of those. Those will stay yellow. But if you come down to some of the black ones, like these flowers, you can actually come in and change the color of those, and it'll show in the preview. Once again, you don't want your border to detract from the content of your flyer, so try not to overwhelm your content. If you want one of these art borders a little smaller, you can adjust your width here so that they're not so pow on your page. For this flyer though, I'm going to stay with my regular box border, so I'm going to come back here and choose none for art, and I'm just going to choose a more subtle, make that a little skinnier. Okay, when I come back, notice that that border is around the entire page. Okay, that concludes our lesson on how to create a flyer. I want to make sure I save this before I close out. and good luck.